So I was watching the Kay Adams show, Up and Adams, and she had Andre Whitworth on the show, and they were talking about the Eagles and Saquon Barkley in particular. And this is some of the stuff that always irks me. I understand why it happens, but it still bothers me because they are the people that are uninformed and the people that are speaking that have the loudest voice are usually the ones that get it wrong. Because even the question that she's asking, and Whitworth being an offensive lineman, should have had the answers to this. However, if they don't watch the games, if they don't watch tape, they will never know. So the only thing they do is go with the national narratives. Take a listen.
Game. I'm at the airport in Detroit, and I'm like, oh man, Eagles rolling, best team ever. And then by the time I get Wi-Fi on the plane, it's completely shot to hell. And it was crazy. And I would like to ask you about Saquon Barkley and this run game because it was a season low 22. He said he's in, I don't know if the words were a funk or he's pretty demonstrative after the game. What's up with their run game? Why are they having so much trouble right now?
Yeah, it is interesting. I was in the same boat, Kay. I was with AD, got honored at the game last night. I go to do AD's thing before the game.
Well, let me stop it before he goes on because he about to get into now. He about to do the diarrhea of the mouth, and he's going to talk about basically what he's doing is coach speak, but he ain't really saying nothing because he hasn't watched the games. And I like him, but you can tell he hasn't watched the games because he's dishing out standard, generic quotes. And anybody who watched the game knows that the run blocking is in a bad state right now. And him as an offensive lineman, of all people, should know that.
And you think of last year, as many explosives as he had. Like he had a lot of huge runs last season and just hasn't been able to find them this year. And sometimes those explosives don't really let us see the whole story of the run game. And so and my point to that is those can really skew the numbers on a per carry basis. And I think this
It ain't nothing to be skewed. The offensive line can't block. We can't run block for shit. That's the problem.
year without the explosives, one of the things that kind of seems to me, I watched a couple clips already of even yesterday, just feels like he's searching for some of those.
He watched a couple clips from the Cowboys game. A couple of clips from the Cowboys game. I mean, no homework, no research, no film, definitely not no film study. But again, I understand. He's a broadcaster now. So he shows up game time, at the game, pregame, halftime, post-game show, all of that type of stuff. So they're only involved in what they are doing at that particular time. He didn't go back and watch 3 and 4 films of game tape from previous games, and he hasn't watched the offensive line all year. So this is how the national narratives get set up because uninformed, but they got the loudest voice.
Explosives instead of just getting every yard out of every run sometimes. And so I'd love to see maybe a little more to me as a running back. Hey, there's a couple times in a game where you get a chance where you can go in there and try and create a run if you want, but really, man, hitting the hole with speed, with violence constantly over and over and over again and almost wearing teams down in that way. And then you have some of those plays where, hey, if something opens up, I'll make a cut. I'll use some vision and go a different direction.
Hit the hole with speed and violence. Give me a break. Clearly, he hasn't been watching. Saquon Barkley make people miss just to get back to the line of scrimmage. You got to watch the tape when you have stuff like this because Kay Adams is one of the more popular shows. He's a very popular broadcaster, and I love his stuff. But this falls into that narrative that people want to get out there that's trying to say Saquon has lost the step and all that you can't run where there's no holes. If you in Philadelphia, if you watching the Eagles, if you are studying tape and all of that type of stuff, you know what the problem is. We've been talking about this for the past 3 weeks. But all it takes is one situation like this where you got somebody who is very well respected, both him and Kay Adams. I like Kay Adams too. Very well respected. And they run with the national narrative because the real of the situation is they don't have time to watch tape. They don't have time to do homework and do research and all of that type of stuff. They have a group of people who do all of that work. They are in front of the camera. They are the eye candy. So they're not doing any homework. Somebody else wrote the book report. All they got to do is stand up in front of the class and read it. Because if they did do homework, you would know what the problem is. It ain't even hard to figure out. Hell, all you got to do is listen to sports talk radio in Philadelphia and you can figure it out. But they run with those national narratives. Everything he just said for the last 20 to 30 seconds of that last comment was all coach speak and generic gibberish. If you had been watching the games, if you had watched anything outside of the Dallas game, outside of the few plays that you did watch, you would know what the problem is. You would know that Saquon is trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. And sometimes he is doing a lot just to get back to the line of scrimmage. That's how these national narratives get out there. And people roll with it. Because the reality of the situation is most people don't do homework. Most people don't study tape. And you ain't got to look at the all 22. Hell, all you got to do is go back and look at the broadcast. You can go to NFL.com and watch a replay of the broadcast, or most of the games are rebroadcast on your cable service anyways. And a lot of this stuff, you ain't got to be in depth in a football guru. You can look at it and judge for yourself with your eyes. Now, there's some intricacies that people that have played the game will know and that we can pull out. Specifically, when you're talking about Saquon Barkley, there's some things that I see as a former running back in the NFL that I would do differently, or I understand why he did that. I understand why he made that decision. I understand why he ran outside instead of hitting the hole like everybody wants to say. It's not that simple. But at the end of the day, if the guys in front of you are not doing their job blocking, it is going to be supremely difficult to have a consistent, positive run game. I don't care who your running back is. And this is a prime example of that situation. It is not, he's not running hard enough. It's not, you just gotta, tuck your head down and hit the hole as hard as possible. It's a hell of a lot more complicated than that. And he should know that. But they want to go with the narrative. They want to go with what sounds good, looks good, or they just want to co-sign and piggyback what everybody else on the networks are saying. That's what it comes down to. So I'm going to keep doing my research. I'm going to keep doing my homework. I'm going to keep watching film, and I'm going to keep it 100 because they certainly are not. So you got to watch tape because tape don't lie.